Hello, myself Sanjit Kumar Singh, lecturer in Electronics and Telecommunication Department at Praveen Patil College of Diploma Engineering and Technology. Welcome to the third chapter, Microwave Active Components Part 1. Third chapter is of 20 marks as per MSBT marking scheme. Topics to be learned in this presentation are microwave tube classification, two cavity klystron amplifier, reflex klystron, with respect to construction, modulation, bunching process, principle of operation, magnetron, construction, operating principle, and applications. The course outcome after going through this presentation and the subsequent presentation is to maintain active microwave components and devices, and in this presentation the learning outcomes, unit outcomes are to number one, to describe with relevant sketch the concept of velocity modulation, how velocity modulation is taking place, and the bunching effect for the given microwave active tube, and to prepare or draw the applicate diagram for the given parameters of the microwave tube, and to describe the applications of the given microwave tube and compare the performance of the klystron, magnetron, and TWT of the given parameters. So question arises, what are the limitations or why the conventional diodes and transistors cannot be used at microwave frequencies? Before transistors were invented, all electronic circuits were implemented with the vacuum tubes. Like the transistors, tubes are the devices used for controlling a large signal with a smaller signal for operations like producing amplification, for oscillation, for switching, and say rectification. So with time the microwave tubes became outdated but are still in use in some of the applications, like in the cathode ray tube, in the TV sets, in the oscilloscopes, and some of the display devices in a special form of vacuum tubes are there. So the major limitations posed by these conventional components are the stray reactances due to high capacitance and high inductance, then the transit time, the time taken for the electron to move from one terminal to the other, or one anode to cathode, or cathode from one terminal to the other, and the size, as the frequency increases, the size reduces of the component. So with reducing size, the power handling capacity also reduces and noise interference increases. So a large power production or generation of the microwave signal is not possible. So we need a special structure, a special type of microwave tubes. So mostly we are studying here the O type of microwave tubes, that is called linear beam tubes, under which the thick subcategory klystron tubes, hybrid tubes, and U type traveling wave tube. Under the klystron tubes we have the subtypes: two cavity klystron, reflex klystron, and with multiple cavities it is the ladder cavity, multi-cavity klystron. Then in the E type traveling TWT we have the helix and helix at bar TWT, coupled cavity TWT, helix BWT. So moving on, the first one, the klystrons or the klystron amplifiers. Klystron was first invented by Russell and Sigurd Varian, the Varian brothers, in the year 1937 at Stanford University. In the two cavity klystron amplifier there are two resonant cavities. One is near to the cathode and another near to the collector at the other end. Then there is the electron gun assembly consisting of heating arrangement filament, which is provided a high negative voltage with the cathode structure. Then electron beam radiated is focused with the help of the focusing electrodes, which is also somewhat charged positively. Then The two cavities, one is for the providing input radio frequency input to be amplified, and the other is for taking out the amplified version of the radio frequency from the other catcher cavity, output cavity. Then the collector is positively charged, and due to that it will attract the electron from the cathode and accelerate the electron beam. And in between the two catcher cavity and the buncher cavity, there is a space called drift space in which bunching takes place. So for the operation, how it is operated: when the filament is heated, electron gun cathode is emitting electron beam and is focused into narrow beam with the help of the focusing arrangement electrodes, that is a magnetic arrangement. And as the electron beam is passing through the two gaps of the buncher cavity, where a radio frequency input is applied with the help of the coaxial loop injected into the resonant cavity, first buncher cavity, then due to the sinusoidal variation of the radio frequency, there is acceleration and deceleration of the electron beam passing the gap. So when the radio frequency voltage is at say B point and 0 point, the anode, that is the radio frequency voltage is 0, that means the electron beam is passing without any change in velocity with its initial velocity. And after some time, when the voltage is reaching negative peak at point C, then the electron beam is retarded, and due to retardation, the reference electron catches up with the retarded electron. And similarly, at point A, where the radio frequency voltage or the gap voltage is maximum at the point A, at that time the electron beam is passing through the gap is accelerated, its velocity increases, and it will catch up with the reference electron, it will catch up with the late electron. So the three cases we see at point A, B and C of the radio frequency signal, and there is concentration level increasing of the electrons, that is more pronounced as it is traveling further, and due to that there is velocity modulation. So we call two cavity klystron amplifier as velocity modulated tube, and there is from velocity modulation it is converted to current density modulation, and from current density modulation it is the amplified version of the radio frequency signal that is taken out at the catcher cavity, as it sends the catcher cavity or the second cavity into a resonance, and amplified version will be taken out with the help of the coaxial cable or a waveguide structure, and the remaining electron will be collected by the collector at the other end. So therefore the velocity of the electron varies in accordance with the radio frequency input voltage, resulting in velocity modulation of the electron beam. As a result of these actions, the electron in the bunching limit between point A and C, that is A, B and C, gradually bunch together as they travel down the drift space. So remember, bunching is taking place right from first cavity to the second cavity. So from gap A to gap B, the pulsating stream of electrons passes through the gap B and excites oscillations in the output, that is the catcher cavity. The density of the electrons passing the gap B varies cyclically with the time, and that is the electron beam contains an AC current and is current modulated. The drift space converts the modulated velocity modulation into current modulation, and bunching occurs only one per cycle centered around the reference electron. So reference electron is passing unmodulated without any change in velocity. So two cavity klystron amplifier, what are the performance characteristics we generally look at? The frequency output could be 250 megahertz to 100 gigahertz, and power could be 10 kilowatt to 500 kilowatt for continuous mode and 30 megawatt for pulsed mode. The power gain can be 15 dB to 70 dB, and bandwidth could be ranging from 10 to 60 megahertz. Noise figure is high, 12 to 20, due to the noisy bunching process or incomplete bunching taking place, and theoretical efficiency is 58%, that, and nominally 30 to 40% is the efficiency obtained. What are the applications of the two cavity klystron amplifier? Applications include as power output tubes. It is used in UHF ultra high frequency of TV transmitters, in troposphere scatter transmitters, in satellite communication ground stations and radar transmitters, as power oscillators for the frequency 5 to 50 gigahertz if used as klystron amplifier. So second topic, reflex klystron. Reflex klystron is a single cavity variable frequency microwave generator or oscillator. So reflex klystron is working as an oscillator rather than as an amplifier, and of low power. It is of low power with low efficiency. So construction, the similar construction is there of the electron gun assembly, then the focusing electrodes, then there is only one cavity, that is anode cavity, with the which is made slightly positive with respect to the negative cathode, so that the electron beam radiated is accelerated towards it. And there is on the other side there is a repeller electrode that is negatively charged with high DC voltage VR, and the space between the cavity gap and the repeller is called the repeller space, in which the electron beam returns back and returns back to the cavity. So for the working, for taking out the signal generated, we use a coaxial loop in the resonant cavity and draw out the microwave signal generated. So how it is working or operated? When the electron beam is radiated and accelerated, focused into narrow beam, and is passing through the gap for the first time in the forward direction, then the noise present in the cavity due to the anode voltage supply is, that noise voltage is amplified, or the noise voltage is random in a random signal, and that signal is causing the electron beam to interact with the two, and thus the energy of the electron beam is used for amplification of that noise signal, and as it passes the gap, resonant cavity gap, it will travel to some distance in the repeller space, depending upon the magnitude of the repeller negative voltage, and it will return back to the gap. So through the gap of the anode cavity, the electron beam passes twice, first in the forward direction, secondly when it returns back from the repeller space. So as it returns back to the gap, it imparts and sends the anode cavity into resonance, and resonated output is taken as the microwave signal with the help of the coaxial loop. So here also there is oscillation and de-oscillation, that is velocity modulation of the early electron and the late electrons with respect to the reference electron. and that results into amplification and microwave signal generation. The time at which the electron beam should return from the repeller space is given by n plus 3 by 4, where n is any integer. So this is the optimum time, and that optimum time is the 90 degree after one complete cycle with respect to reference. Negative going, positive going, it completes one cycle, then 3/4, so it is coming to the 90 degree positive, as we see in the applicate diagram, where all the electrons are converging to form a dense domain. So this depends upon repeller and anode voltage. The repeller and anode voltage are adjusted in such a way that maximum energy is imparted into or given up to the resonant cavity or the cavity, and output is microwave signal output is taken. Performance parameters or characteristics: frequency of the reflex klystron can be 4 to 200 gigahertz. Power, it's a small power, low power device, generally 100 milliwatt, or it could be 1.0 milliwatt to 2.5 watt, and theoretical efficiency could be 22.75, practically 10 to 20%. Tuning range can be 5 gigahertz at 2 watt to 30 gigahertz at 10 milliwatt. Applications most widely used where a variable frequency is desired, as in radar receivers, local oscillator in microwave receivers, signal source in microwave generator of variable frequency, portable microwave links, pump oscillator in parametric amplifier. The third, magnetron or the cavity magnetron. Magnetron is a vacuum tube device. It is a cross-field device. It is also called cross-field device. Is to generate microwaves of high power. Microwave signal of high power are generated. Working principle: what is the working principle? Working principle is based on the interaction of the electron beam or stream with the magnetic field created by the permanent magnet, axial permanent magnet. So magnet is not shown here for simplicity, but there is a C-shape permanent magnet for magnetic field, uniform magnetic field. Construction part, as we saw, it is a combination of simple diode vacuum tube with the built-in cavity resonator and an extremely powerful permanent magnet. So we see the anode and cathode structure. Central cylindrical structure is the cathode of copper, and the outer is the anode with the number of bores or orifices drilled, precisely drilled. So these numbers are generally even numbers and have the diameter of lambda by 2, where lambda is the microwave to be generated, and is the cathode and anode are connected to high DC voltage. So what are the types of the magnetron? The cavity type magnetron, the one we are studying, then cyclotron frequency magnetron, negative resistance magnetron. These are the different types of magnetron. Then for the cavity type magnetron, working depends upon the relative strength of the magnetic field created by the permanent magnet and the electric field of the electron beam radiated from the cathode, released from the cavity, move towards the anode, will navigate through the interacting space, interacting chamber. So what is the effect of the electric field? If only electric field is present, then and the magnetic field is 0, then the path described is from cathode to anode straight. It is readily coming to the anode. Then if a little magnetic field is applied, then the path of the electron from cathode is somewhat curved y path is there. Then if the magnetic field is increased further, there is a point where electrons will not reach anode and anode current becomes zero. So that is the certain path we are seeing coming back to the cathode, and due to that there will be no external current. So there is a critical magnetic field BC where electrons return back to cathode just gazing or feeding the surface of the anode. From the mouth of the anode it comes back to the cathode. So that is called the critical magnetic field. And if the magnetic field applied by the permanent magnet is greater than the critical magnetic field, then the electron beam experiences a greater rotational force. It will make the electron to rotate several times and may return back finally to the cathode quite faster when magnetic field is much more than the critical field. So there was a question to describe the working principle of the magnetron with the help of the construction diagram in winter 19 MSBT paper. So effect of the magnetic fields when magnetic field is applied by the permanent magnet is axial, and hence magnetron is called a cross field device. So name the cross field device, answer should be magnetron, cavity magnetron. So if the magnetic field strength is more, the electrons emitted will return back to the cathode with high velocity, which will destroy the cathode cavity. This effect is called back heating of the cathode. So generally for the normal operation, the electric and the magnetic fields are such a way that the electron may have dissimilar paths depending upon the strength of electric and magnetic field. So first condition, when electric field is greater than the magnetic field, the electrons reach at the anode, but the path will be bent because of the small magnetic field. If magnetic field is greater than the electric field, the electrons return back to the cathode. It is not reaching the anode. So what are the advantages, disadvantages and applications of magnetron? The advantages include it higher efficiency, more efficient device, and due to a small structure and a small antennas and high resolution allows magnetron to be used in aircraft. And then disadvantage, it is very expensive and has therefore limited use or applications, and controlling the frequency generated, microwave frequency generated, is difficult and a wide range of frequency is obtained. So to generate a constant frequency is difficult but can be generated. Applications of magnetron is magnetrons are used in radars. It is used in microwave oven for heating and for sulfur lamp for lighting. So what we learned in today's presentation, here is the summary of. First we saw why the conventional transistors and diodes are not suitable for microwave applications. This is mainly due to the stray capacitive and inductive reactances, due to the thickness and due to the junction capacitance, due to the leads, and then the transit time, the time taken for the electron to moving from one terminal to the other, then the size. Then we saw the classification of the O-type linear beam tubes, the klystron tubes, two cavity, reflex klystron, then multi-cavity. Multi-cavity makes the bunching more effectively and hence more powerful output can be obtained. Then hybrid we saw in the classification U-type traveling wave tube, and that will be studying in the further presentation. And we also saw how the two cavity klystron amplifier is amplifying a radio frequency signal injected to the buncher cavity, and how the velocity modulation is taking place, current density modulation is taking place in the drift space, and finally coming back to the catcher cavity, second cavity amplified version is taken out of the radio frequency signal with the help of the coaxial cable, and remaining electrons are collected by the collector in two cavity klystron. But with a single cavity klystron resonant cavity, we have the reflex klystron down, and it is working as oscillators or generators rather than amplifiers, the reflex klystron. Then in the magnetron is basically combo of the anode cathode structure like the diodes, and with a permanent magnet, and the interaction of the electric and the magnetic field results into making the electron radiated from cathode go several rounds before it reaches the anode, so that makes the cavities to resonate, and the resonated microwave signal can be taken out from any of the cavities. So that's it. Thank you. References one can go through the MSBT a model solution, or the Frenzel book, or the book by the Kennedy and the Lewis R.E. Collins book. Thank you very much.